Well, good morning and happy first day of spring, everybody. I hope you're... My microphone seems quiet. Oh, nope, there we go. Okay. As I was saying, hello and happy first day of spring, everybody. I hope you're all doing well. Hello. How's everyone? Let me turn down this music, because the chorus I always come in like 5 minutes into the song when everyone's shouting. Who we got? Norman. Hello, Norman and Crystal. Hello, good to see you. Lizzie Winchester, indeed, you are here. James Polk. Hello to James Polk. Nevermore. Hello, Mr. Zook, here to regale us with more stories, I am sure. Rowan is here. Hello to Rowan. Is everyone doing at least fair today, says Crystal? I think, yeah, well, you know, the weather is... The weather's foul, honestly, in Seattle. It's a little overcast. It's a little drizzly. It's a little wet. I don't have my boots anymore. I had to send I got some nice rain boots, and I had to send them back because they were not stitched properly and they fell apart. So that's a bummer. So I lost my nice thick boots. My tall shoes, James says. It's true. They fell apart. They fell apart. The stitching was bad on the bottom, so I was like, oh, I'll just exchange these. And they were like, no, return. You have to return them and then buy them again. So, oh boy, what a world. Finally spring, says Rowan. Yes, indeed.
Matthew, you are peaking very badly.
Oh, I'm peaking. Oh, dear. How about making some changes? How about now? Is this better? Does this improve our situation? I'm just tweaking my audio settings a bit here. Hopefully that's better. The audio's blown up. Oh, okay. Well, let's see. How's that? Oh, much better, says Christopher. Okay, good. Okay, good. You're correct that the bunnies are still hopping around the pumpkins on the starting soon screen. There they are. There's no excuse for that. I need to... I gotta find something springy to have the bunnies hop around in. What would be appropriate? What would be an appropriate thing for, I don't know, some tulips maybe? I mean, we're actually coming up on Easter. I guess, like eggs? Easter eggs. I'll give them some Easter eggs. Anyway, who else we got? Oh, we've got, let's see, Jenny Moore and Malia Los, Nevermore, of course, Magic Mike, hello to you. Does Matt need some coffee or energy drinks? Charles, I've got the coffee right here. Can I understand that? Just bear in mind there's no... Oh yes, Nevermore is looking for some therapy. I have a hard time talking. You know, I find it helpful just to, like, honestly, sometimes just close my eyes. It seems weird. It seems like I'm falling asleep, but sometimes it helps me just, like, get out of my head and vocalize stuff by just closing my eyes. Hello to Joshua Larino. Good to see you. And Ellie W. is here. Hello. Tall, Dark, and Southern. Oh, my goodness. That sounds intriguing. Mr. T is here. Brian Dillon says, I'm loving your videos. Thank you. I'm glad you're loving the videos. Thank you so much. The pumpkins are a state of mind, says That's So Dark. I'm perpetually in amongst the gourds. Where do the bunnies and eggs and Easter thing come from, says Nevermore? Pagans, right? Isn't it a fertility thing? Like, here we are in the rites of spring, and the rabbits are fecund, and the eggs represent the burgeoning of the birds. It doesn't make sense. Like, those things don't go together. I'm sure if someone wiser than I traced that back, they could explain why rabbits, tulips, and painted eggs all coincide. Oh, and of course the rebirth of Jesus, which is also a thing that happens around this time of year. Anyway, tulips and Easter eggs sounds lovely, says Jared. All right, maybe that's my new thing. I'll find some tulips and Easter eggs for the next stream. Oh, Jenny's Console Cowboy. Oh, hello. Good to see you. All right. This is so confusing, is that, like, everyone's got their names on Twitch, and they've got their names on YouTube, and they've got their, I don't know, they've got their drag names, and their pup names, and their porn names, and their, I don't know, I was going to say their library card name. You don't have a different name on your library card. The library's not like, and what name would you like to be known by when you come to the library? Kiflum says, has something to do with Roman mythology? Sure. I'm open to that. Surely other cultures have representations of spring too. Like, what are the signifiers? Are there like icons or mascots or, I don't know, things that represent springing in other cultures? I know there's obviously the cherry blossoms in Japan are a big deal. Not that cherry blossoms only exist in Japan, but I know that the Cherry Blossom Festival is a big deal there. I'll tell you what, we've got beautiful plum trees outside the apartment building here that are blossoming. I know that it's springtime when the beautiful plum blossoms blossom. When the plum blossoms put on their big floppy hat and do their dance around in their bedroom. Oh no, that's an untimely reference to Blossom, the sitcom. But what are you here for on this channel, if not untimely references to TV shows of decades past? I don't think the show Blossom ever had a gay episode, which is a real shame. To my knowledge, it's never come up in my research. Maybe I'm wrong. Sydney loves the Beethoven. I've been excited for this video. Oh, well, just you wait. Just you wait and see what I've got planned for you all today. Here, I'll give you a little sneak peek. There's Quentin Crisp, a monument to individualism. We're going to be looking at a little Quentin. And, I've also pulled up, let me see if I can find it, a little bit about Friends, because I've been doing some research into the show Friends. I don't know if you've heard of it. This I don't know, obscure TV show. What if I got people really mad by calling Friends obscure? Sometimes when I do a video on a show like Mary Hartman, I'll call it obscure because not a lot of people know about it today. And people who do remember it are, that can make them feel a bit left out. And sometimes they get a little huffy in the comments like, Mary Hartman isn't obscure? How dare you? And sorry. But now I want to provoke people just by calling, like, the most popular and mainstream of things obscure. Anyway, so those are among the things that we're going to be talking about today. Johnny LaRue says, this is my porn name. Great. Saves me some time. That's what Derek says. That's why I changed all my socials to the same thing. Oh, bless you. Sim is sim everywhere. Glad to hear it. Crystal says, painted eggs and the rabbits were symbols of fertility. But is that just in Western culture? Or is that something that's like universal all over the world? Bitter Queen is watching the Snyder Cut of Justice League. Oh, I remember you were like 2 hours in last night, right? My partner's watching the original Justice League to remember the differences all these hours. Oh, man. I know. This is why, like, at some point, maybe I'll dive into that, but I don't know. Like, I'm so much more invested in the Marvel stuff. No spoilers. We watched The Winter Soldier and Falcon last night. And, I'm okay with, like, I'm cool on it. That's my review. Just, it's cool. I'm certainly not obsessed like I was with WandaVision, but, WandaVision was a show that was made specifically personally for me and me alone. No show is ever going to be that ever again. Christopher says, Blossom is gay series unto itself, kind of like Clarissa. Make the case for me there. I've never actually watched Blossom beyond the opening song, so I don't know. Let's see. Let's see. How do I? Boo. And there we go. Just doing some moderation. There we go. That should do it. Nevermore hates Ross. Okay. That's intense. Okay. I mean, that's fair. Honestly, Friends, I feel kind of justified calling it obscure because it's been a long time since I gave it much attention. So it's become obscure maybe today. Lizzie says the rain's going away for a while here in Central California, so I can finally give my dog a bath and not worry about her immediately getting muddy. I'm glad you're having some sunny weather. That's pleasant. It's about time. Isn't Friends one of those sitcoms the old's like? What is this dinosaur chat I've stumbled into? This is King of Pointless. Yeah, it's that. You might be familiar with it. That Lucille Ball and Ricky Ricardo are pioneering this new format on television. I'm not sure if it's going to catch on. Crystal says, my mother watched Mary Hartman, Mary Hartman. Here's the thing. It's like the people who watch Mary Hartman, if you haven't seen, I've got a video about the show, Mary Hartman, Mary Hartman. It's maybe one of the shows, it may be the first show, I'm not 100% sure, but I think it's the first show to have a recurring gay couple on the show. 1970s, late 70s. And people just do not remember it today unless they saw it when it was on. Or, like, you know, your mother watched it, like in Crystal's case. Or they're, like, real deep in TV nostalgia or history. Because it's just one of those shows that never got syndicated, or at least seldom syndicated. Just wasn't a, like, Nick at Night hit. So unlike Bewitched, which a lot of us remember fondly, it's just sort of like there's this gap in our history where it happened and people, like, have just completely forgotten. People remember shows depending on how often it was shown in reruns, says Charles, and that is a huge aspect. I mean, it's one of the reasons that, like, so a lot of people watch my Bewitched video, and I'm very grateful. I'm very happy with the response I've gotten to the Bewitched video, so thank you to everyone who has shared and commented and reposted and all that stuff. You know, like, comment, and subscribe. You know what to do. But I think one of the reasons that so many people were happy to see Bewitched was because we all watched it on Nick at Night, or maybe when it was on, or in syndication somewhere else on some, like, I don't know, UHF station or something. So it's just a big part of our lives. Same thing with Friends. Friends hit a lot of, was widely seen, and then it's, you know, in syndication, so we see it again and again and again and again. Malgorzata, tell me if I'm pronouncing your name right, rewatched Friends lately, and it was a cringy experience. There is that, too. There's a lot to critique on that show for their handling of all manner of issues. You know, their treatment of gay stuff, not always great. You could probably count on one hand the number of black people they had on the show. Treatment of trans, particularly problematic. Yeah, and what's unfortunate about that is there was a gay man who was working on one of the showrunners. David Crane, I think is his name. Was it David Crane? David Crane, Friends, was that his name? I always get his name wrong because I start to call him Niles Crane, and I'm like, no, that's not him. American writer and producer, yes, created Friends and the show Episodes, which, okay, there may not quite remember that one either. Oh, that's nice. Seen his life partner. His partner is Jeffrey Cleric, who created co-producer of Mad About You. That's nice. It's a TV family. Anyway, so David Crane was one of the creators of Friends, as well as Dream On, which had a few good gay episodes, and, oh god, The Powers That Be. It's another one that nobody remembers. And then later, Veronica's Closet. What's interesting about that one is Veronica's Closet had an is he or isn't he gay character, who eventually was gay, that is. And there's, in looking at that character, I wonder to what extent that was like a do-over on Chandler. We're going to be talking about that a little bit later, I think. Anyway, She Lost Control says, I used to have a Blossom hat. Marvelous. Wait, oh, the chat scrolled and I lost a comment. Anyway, oh well. I also used to have a Blossom hat, and then I was like, this is perhaps gone out of style. Oh well. Mary Hartman had a big lesbian romance in the 70s. Wait, Mary Kay Place? Maba, tell me about that. The lesbian romance. I'm aware of the gay couple, but I don't know about the lesbian stuff. James Polk is sitcom deficient in my knowledge. Sitcom kind of declined after Prestige TV. That is true, yeah. Sitcom is not what it once was. That's why WandaVision felt, I think, like such a throwback. Oh, and Sim says, unfortunately, Hot L Baltimore never got a DVD. Yes, I know. That's another one. Another show that had a gay, I don't think couple. I think it was just a character. Might have been a couple. I think it was just a character. Norman Lear show, not a hit, did not do well, and it is just lost to the archives. It's not like lost, like the tapes exist. It's just you have to go to like the Paley Museum or the Paley Center to watch, and you're not allowed to make copies of anything or take it off the premises. So if you want to watch the videos, you have to go into a screening booth and just watch it with your eyes, and you can't record it or anything. So that's a little frustrating. Have you seen the NBC knockoff for I Love Lucy called I Married Joan? I don't think I've seen it. I think I'm aware of it. I Married Joan. Sure. That name sounds familiar, but I don't 100% know what it's about. Oh, King of Pointless. Absolutely. The syndication in the 70s of Star Trek, I Dream of Jeannie, Gilligan's Island. Exactly. Yup, and Maba says all the glitters, Norman Lear gender switch world in the 70s. Another one that's very hard to find. There's this whole Norman Lear universe of shows, like after All in the Family, that were real popular. So All in the Family was popular. And then after that, a bunch of Norman Lear shows that were like, interesting idea, but nobody really wanted it. Johnny LaRue says Mary Kay Place directed... Oh, Mary Kay Place was director of Friends. Oh, I thought Mary Kay Place was the name of a show. I was like, what was Mary Kay Place about? Was that the name? I was like, Melrose Place? Was Mary Kay Place the sequel to Melrose Place? Jenny's a fan of Civil Servant, Naked Civil Servant. Yeah, so Quentin Crisp. So we looked at Oscar Wilde last week, and there's some interest in looking at Quentin Crisp again this week. So we're going to check him out today. Maba was a teenage lesbian, watched Mary Hartman. Had to hide my face because it was hot. Oh, my. There's a lot of Mary Hartman to watch. There's like hundreds of hours. So I haven't gotten through all of it. It's also... It's not a fast-paced show. Charles says, Veronica's Closet stars Kirstie Alley. Another, I did a video about Roseanne, which, when we talk about her, we have to talk about the problems. And that's another one with the Kirstie Alley. Got to talk about the problems. The problems. So Derek says, Mary Kay Place should be in a lesbian bar. It is actually a good name for a lesbian bar. I don't hate that. All right. Let me just bring up some of the stuff we're going to be looking at today. King Pointless says, I don't think Norman Lear gets enough credit from younger people for really taking TV to a smarter place it had never been earlier. What's funny is, so after this Bewitched video that I did, one of the reasons that Bewitched declined and went off the air eventually, one of the reasons, not the only reason, was because it was actually... Now, let me check this, because I think this is true, but I'm not 100% on this. It was up against All in the Family. So you could either watch on ABC Bewitched, or what channel? Was it CBS? I can't remember. Had All in the Family. So Bewitched or All in the Family. Two completely different takes on entertainment. You've got this, like, wacky, goofy, shticky, quippy Bewitched on one channel. And then you've got All in the Family, which is like... a dramatic two-act play, essentially. I don't know if two-act is exactly right. But it's, a play broken up by commercials. That is so grounded in realism. So completely different, these two things. I love the idea that these two things were pitted against each other. Let me look that up. Bewitched. All in the Family. Bewitched. Yeah, okay, so it was pitted against All in Family. Filming ended in 71, 72, moved to Saturday night, opposite All in the Family, where it fared even worse, with Bewitched finishing 72nd place for the year. Which is wild, because it used to be, like, the top show. At least the top show for ABC. And then the follow-up to Bewitched, the Paul Lynde Show, which, that's a story. The Paul Lynde Show was supposed to be like ABC's answer to All in the Family. It was supposed to be like, oh, okay, you want family shows? Here you go. Here's Paul Lynde. You want a show that's grounded in realism? Here's Paul Lynde playing a heterosexual. So that worked great. Maba says Mary Kay Place starred in Diane, not gay. Deep character worked just... Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know who she is. Oh, yeah, of course. And Mr. Zook is correct that Elizabeth Montgomery's personal life made making Bewitched complicated. Oh, King Pointless, you're right. The whole rural purge, which sounds like a joke from 30 Rock, where those genteel 60s shows got canceled in favor of the 70s Norman Lear urban ones. I don't know that genteel is exactly how I describe them, but I do. Yeah, I know what you mean. That things there's a grit to a lot of the 70s entertainment. Oh gosh, Johnny Minogue, I've never heard about that. Kirstie Alley was a contestant on Match Game in '79, won the grand prize by matching Jamie Lee Curtis. And they both ended up acting together in Scream Queens for an episode. So Kirstie Alley was a contestant. She wasn't on the panel. Wow, that's wild. Sounds like Bewitched stood out as a kind of old hat kookiness. Yeah, next to Norman Lear's human dramedy. Human dramedies is a good way to describe it, James. But they also had a laugh track, so it wasn't like full drama. Charles said, if you find out a celebrity is a member of the Church of Scientology, it is a red flag. I agree with that. VTP says, husband, I've been watching your videos. He's seen Rocky Horror Picture Show in person, so that was fun. Have you done a video on Three's Company? I've mentioned Three's Company in some things. I haven't. It should be on my list, because that's another one that's been in syndication forever, and tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of people have seen it. So I think there may be some fond memories of Three's Company. That one's probably worth talking about. I do miss, like, as you mentioned, VTP, husband seeing Rocky Horror in person. That one, I mean, that's an experience that depends so much on the people that you see it with, right? Because I've been to some Rocky Horror screenings that were actually kind of uncomfortable because there was like one or two people in the audience who were like really... who knew like all the things to shout at the screen, but they'd done it so many times that it was just like they were reciting it in their sleep. There was no enthusiasm for it, and everyone else was just kind of like sitting there silently. And yeah, not what it was. Not what it was. Oh, Scott says, loving your work, wonderful person. Thank you, Scott. I love your comments. Thank you so much. King Pointless saw the episode where Maude was introduced on All in the Family. Genuinely surprised by how funny I found it. Often appreciate older comedy even while not laughing, but not here. Saw it recently, King Pointless says. Yeah, isn't it wild? B. Arthur was just a stage actress, and then she appears on All in the Family, and suddenly it's like, oh, who's this Beatrice woman? Maybe we should put her on a show. Ms. Beatrice Arthur. So, B. Arthur, whom we all know, of course, from Golden Girls, Broadway, and then she appeared on All in the Family, late 70s, and I want to say late 70s, right? It wasn't in the 80s. No, it was late 70s. And then she went on to Maude, of course, and was on that with Rue McClanahan. And then from there, then we get the Golden Girls in the 80s, the platonic ideal of a B. Arthur role. Tony says, Mrs. Roper is who I want to be when I retire and move to Puerto Vallarta. Caftans for life. You know what? You don't have to wait. You just get in a caftan right now. We should all be... everybody wear a caftan for these streams. Speaking of wearing things for streams, I almost forgot. It was chilly, so I put this long sleeve shirt on, but I do need to show you, in case you haven't seen, the shirts that I have available based on historical queer protest slogans. So I was doing some research... What was this for? I can't even remember what video this was for. I was doing some research into historical queer protests, and I was really admiring some of the signs that people were like holding in like the 50s through the 90s. And one of my favorites is when the Supreme Court was ruling on the criminalization of sodomy. A group of people protested by holding up this giant banner that said, honk if you like sodomy. And so I've made honk if you heart sodomy t-shirts that you can get right now if you go to TeePublic. Or if you go to mattbaum.com. There's a link right there on my website to where you can buy them. So, yeah, extra, get your honk if you heart sodomy based on a real protest slogan. There's also Thank God I'm Queer, which was a protest slogan from the 80s, popular in New York and San Francisco. I've seen signs of Thank God I'm Queer signs from those cities. Thank God I'm gay at the time, but Thank God I'm Queer, I think, is a little more inclusive. And there's also a Queer Power shirt based on Lauren, a sign behind Lauren Bacall in, oh shoot, what was the name of that? Lauren Bacall appears in this musical where she goes to a gay bar and there's a giant blinking sign behind her that says "Gay Power." Oh, so anyway, buy a T-shirt. Mary Kay Place was in Big Love, says Norman. She was a no-nonsense bureaucratic matriarch who you do not mess with. She was the boss wife. Huh, I have not seen Big Love. Yeah, V says, you'd have to see it with the right people. Thanks for your story as well. During that video, it was lovely to hear. It was, yeah, if you haven't watched my Rocky Horror video, go check it out. It's all about how Rocky Horror was particularly important for me figuring out my place amongst my drama club friends in the 90s, millions of years ago. King Pointless says, B. Arthur got that almost non-existent opportunity for most old women, a whole show written for her as the lead. She wasn't even that old is the thing. I mean, she had gray hair, but, you know, she still had a lot of years left in her. Oh, Mr. Zook saw B do her one-woman show. Mr. Zook, you have seen everybody. You have so many good celebrity stories of great gay icons. Gibson has a caftan from Pierre Cardin. Have I a plastic soul? Perhaps. Oh, yes, King Pointless said there was someone in the chat who said they'd seen a Quentin Crisp live show. I may have missed it, so the chat is scrolling fast, and I don't want to fall behind. So if I miss your comment, you may need to just, like, give it an emote or something so it stands out. They parodied that on The Simpsons when Mrs. Cropple held up a strike sign that said, honk if you love cookies. You're right. You're right. It is comparable. So he loves the interviews with Quentin Crisp. And Roan said, I saw a High Point Coffee reference in an episode of Oh, wonderful. I'm delighted by that. My favorite time of day is night. Anyway, what were we going? What were we doing? What are we doing here? Let's go look at some history, everybody. Let's go look at some history. Maybe we'll look at some mod at some point. I feel like I've done all the mod that needs to be done on this channel. There's 2 gay episodes of mod, and I've done videos about both of them. So go check those out if you feel like it. Applause was the Bacall musical. Thank you. Thank you, Sokasti. That's the one. Mr. Zook says, I'm old, that's why I've got so many stories. That and living in LA helps. That's true. I lived in LA for a little bit. I've got a few pretty good celeb stories. I met Kermit the Frog. That's probably my favorite. Anyway, let's look at some old stuff. And not just me. So, as I mentioned, I've been doing some research into Friends. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But I know that there was some interest in looking at Quentin after last stream. So let's just take a glimpse. Let's take a glimmer at Quentin. Here, of course, we've got a monument to individualism. Now, if you're not familiar, Quentin Crisp was a, gosh, how do you even describe him? Raconteur? Just like a person about town who was super queer, certainly before that term was used in the way that we use it today. Always had something funny to say, always had a great story, always just super entertaining talker. So, you know, gathered up a little bit of his writing and appearances in the newspapers. I love this quote from him. My foundations are crumbling. What was he talking about? Oh, yes. People come to my show not just for me, but to listen to history. I've been called a monument to individualism. I don't know about that, but I feel like it. My foundations are crumbling. I may need some salvaging soon. He was just such a super entertaining person. Famously said that he never cleans his house. He said there's no point to doing housework. After 4 years, the dirt doesn't get any worse, which is, it's a great way to live your life. If you can live with that, I would not. I would not be able to live that way, but good for him. Oh, yes, you're right, King of Pointless. I provided the groundhogs for Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. That's my other claim to fame. Crisp had a lot of opinions, and on Princess Diana, of all people. That's another thing that, like, if we're going to talk about Quentin, we do have to talk about, like, some of the problems. He had some not great, in fact, let's call them bad, instead of just not great. He had some bad takes on HIV, on Princess Diana, on queer liberation. Again, certainly not calling it that. So his politics were sometimes pretty bad. Yeah, sometimes pretty bad. But he was also a fun talker, and he did, I think, make queerness seem exciting and entertaining, and I'm going to say to an extent desirable. Like, he appeared on Letterman a whole bunch of times. We can check, we can just, like, look at a clip of that. Quentin Crisp, Letterman. And I want to think that this made queerness seem a little less, I don't know, I want to say taboo, or like, ooh, here's a very effeminate person who is actually really entertaining to watch. And my hope is that these appearances on Letterman and elsewhere made people feel a little bit more interested or inclined to give gender nonconforming people the time of day. Oh, Mr. Zook says Bacall did a great throw called The Fan. I think we talked about that on a previous stream. Oh, Johnny LaRue had a great Molly Shannon encounter. Cut in line in front of me at a book sighting. She's sweet. Molly Shannon does seem sweet. Oh, he's buried at a place called Chorlton Coombe or Coombe. Like, do you say Coombe? I want to say Coombe there. Quentin was a contrarian. King of Pointless. I guess, like, I'm trying to think of what his goal actually was. I don't know that he was just contrary to be contrary. I think he really, like, I don't think he said things he didn't believe. I don't think. Like, that's not the impression I get from him. So I don't think he's just saying things to get a reaction. I think he's saying things he believes, and he knows how to say them in a way that gets a reaction. And Johnny, you're, like, ultimately, you're quite right. Letterman, it is awesome of them to have had Quentin Crisp on. Yeah, and having John Waters and Divine around the same time. Let's just we'll watch a little clip here, and let me turn off the classical music that's piping through the background. Let's give Quentin just a little glimpse here. So we watched him on a previous stream. Let's see here. Here he is. We'll start from the, yes, when was this? 80-something? So we've got 82, April 5th, 1982, Crisp appearance on Letterman. And let's see. Oh, I should probably have the audio turned up here. How about that? Oh, that's interesting, King of Pointless. Commenter here last time said they thought Letterman got all the fringe guests due to Carson being so established. Interesting. Sydney says, did she reveal that she was trans before she died? Quentin did? That is not something I knew. Is that true? Did she use... So died, like, I want to say 99? When did Quentin... Now, let me see here. When did Quentin Crisp die? Let's just look at Wikipedia. 99. Well, that adds a layer of complication.
My first guest, Quentin Crisp, hit the public's attention with his autobiography, The Naked Civil Servant,
like, if this
which
was
recounted his years in England.
Yes. Dave Stolen used that about himself 20 years later on the show? Really? Well, you learn from the best.
New Yorker, and this is a repeat visit for him on Late Night. Welcome, please, Mr. Quentin Crisp.
So he says yes in the last autobiography, which was published posthumously. Oops. Just lost our place.
Welcome, please, Mr. Quentin Crisp.
So here comes Quentin. What? That's really interesting, Sydney. I didn't know about that.
How are you? Nice to see you.
Thank you for returning to the program. When you were here before, we really didn't get to talk about the book and the television show, The Naked Civil Servant, but it refers to what aspect of your life?
So here's Quentin on in April. This is a month after the first appearance, when the book was just coming out, Naked Civil Servant. Although, actually, hold on, let's see. Naked Civil Servant was... Yeah, 75. Okay, so the book was 68. The film was 75. So why was Quentin doing publicity for it in 82? That's weird. Yeah, I have no idea why they're suddenly talking about this, like, old book in 82. Was there some, like, re-release or something? That's weird. Damon says, I don't recall Crisp. I want to say Quisp. I don't recall Crisp coming out as trans. I do remember him saying, if born in current times, would have been. Interesting. Now, I feel a little conflicted now about which pronouns are best to use. Did Quentin talk about that by any chance, like preferred pronouns? Because certainly this is somebody who, for most of their life, identified and presented as male. So this makes it difficult to talk about. Check out the 75 movie The Naked Civil Servant based on Crisp's memoirs. It was John Hurt's breakthrough. Oh, I feel like, well, I don't know. John Hurt was probably famous before then. There's a Pink News article about Zenzo Derek. We'll get to Pink News.
The title.
The title refers to the time when I was a model. And a journalist came to ask me if I was a famous model. But there isn't such a thing anymore now, because no artists draw from figures. All their work is abstract. So you work in the schools, and the romance of it and the scandal have gone. You go to the school, you sign on, you take your insurance cards with you, you work.
Now, at this point, I feel like the audience is like, who is this person? Why are we listening to this old person with a droning British accent talking about some boring thing?
Work for a definite number of hours a week, you sign off, and you are paid by check, and the check comes from the Minister of Education.
Oh, I see, because you were used as part of, you were in art classes, I guess.
That's right. You
Yeah.
go to the schools only.
Did you model, well, naked? Sure you did. That's the title of the thing here, yeah.
Like, and once again, Letterman is like, feels a little uncomfortable. Like, something about Letterman's demeanor here is like, ooh, what if I say the wrong thing? Alternate title for Naked Civil Servant. It was going to be called I Reign in Hell, which is a line from a John Milton poem. Late Night with Letterman had some out there guests. Look up Andy Kaufman for sure. Like, that's just like in the
Self-explanatory, isn't it?
sidebar there.
Well,
Ma Ba saw him perform twice. Oh, that must have been amazing. Although I do get the impression that Quentin had a routine that was well-tread, let's say.
most classes, you wear a loincloth. The women are naked, the men wear a loincloth. Now, I don't think they do. I think nakedness is here to stay.
Mm-hmm. Was that difficult work for you?
It's a constant strain.
Mm-hmm.
The work is a constant, you're uncomfortable, whatever you're doing. If the art master says, that's fine, stay like that. That's the way it is, boys and girls, for the rest of the day. By the evening, you will be absolutely worn out and you won't be able to lift your elbows off the desk.
Yeah, people,
According to The Guardian, Crisp moved to New York in 1981. So yeah, that's around the time that, like, and I want to say lived in the same place, like, for the entire time in New York.
I would
think
not
that
guess
was,
that
like,
it's exhausting
famously
work.
always had the same
Is there a
place.
trick
What did you
to
do
it,
for
a
living? Was he
secret?
famous
Did you
for
have
being
any
famous?
secret?
That's exactly it. Like, famous for being famous, writing, doing appearances, the books, and, like, famously had a phone number just listed in the phone book so people could call, and they would just chat.
No, there's no secret. You force yourself to do it.
Mm-hmm. And what constitutes being a good model?
Well, I suppose you could have various things to offer. You could be handsome, or you could have a magnificent physique. But as I
Listen how, like, absolutely silent the audience is, like,
I didn't
completely
have
disinterested
any
in
of
this.
these things, I decided to make it a triumph of the will. So I took the poses that most models
phrase to
will
use there.
refuse to take. They will say it's too much strain. I can't do it.
Did you ever go look at the work after it was completed?
No, I think that would be unwise. The first duty of the model is to look like the work of the students.
Again, like, this is something that we noticed, like, last time we were watching this clip a week or two ago, is this is what you would call too smart for the room, where, like, Crisp is making, like, witty observations here, and the audience is like, oh, wait, was that a joke? Haha, I think I got it.
It isn't easy.
So you make it sound like they draw something and then go looking for somebody who matches up. And they say-
More or less,
Yeah.
more or less, that's right.
Now, the last time you were on this program, it was brought to everyone's attention that you were listed in the Manhattan phone book.
That's right.
And it didn't occur to me at the time that perhaps you might be plagued with a call or two after your appearance. Did that occur?
Yes, indeed. They were still ringing me up at 4:15 in the morning.
And by they, you just mean
The
people,
world.
The world. And
So this is the thing that like Crisp was really known for, is like you could just call and chat. I want to say there was some like famous greeting. I can't remember what, but
what did
maybe
they
we'll talk about
generally
that.
have to say?
They liked the program.
Yeah, were they were, and you spoke with them at length?
Yes, as long as they wanted to speak, I
Uh-huh.
spoke.
And this, of
Oh,
course,
that's a
this
good
is your
point. King of Pointless. Imagine Jimmy Fallon trying to do
purpose
this.
in having your number listed.
Yes.
Yeah, no threats, no nastiness. So people pretty
No,
polite.
in England, they threaten you when they ring you up.
Mm-hmm.
They say, "You're queer, I'll kill you."
That's a threat. Yeah, yeah.
I don't know why that gets applause.
That's
I can only say, "Do you want an appointment?"
you mean to kill you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this is an awful line of discussion we've fallen into here, isn't it?
Yes.
No wonder he's
Yeah, we
uncomfortable.
should. But generally, Americans seem to be more friendly.
Yes.
Well, that's a note, I think, suitable upon which to pause, and we'll do so right now. We'll be back with...
Poor David is like, he knows that we have to go to commercial, and he's like, how do I go to commercial off of this like telephone death threat? Oh, Noam Chomsky lets anyone email him? That's okay. I mean, I guess you could email anyone you want. That's what Derek says. I remember the awful interviews with him and Lindsay Lohan. Wait, really? Oh, that's what Derek. For some reason, I thought you meant Noam Chomsky and Lindsay Lohan. You're talking about David Letterman. I'm not familiar with the Lindsay Letterman interviews. So understand him, says Damon. He was fine for you to call him anything you want as long as you paid for lunch. Okay. All right, let's bounce back in. We're going to come back to this one and look at a few like older Quentin things. Here, I'm just going to like cycle through all my tabs so they all load properly. There we go. There. Oop, 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 oop. Let's settle on, I don't know, right over there. So this is some previous stuff that I pulled up that is not Quentin related, just some older gay stuff. Oh, by the way, I don't know if y'all remember, a few videos ago, a few live streams ago, we found a activist from the 70s named Chris Bull, who appeared in a news report in the late 70s, I want to say, as a college student who was doing like queer activism in Maine. And we found him on Facebook, still today, still active, still doing stuff, and reached out to him about doing an interview and did not respond for a while. And now he has responded. We are in touch. We're talking about doing an interview. It's going to happen. Hopefully, fingers crossed, it's going to happen. So hopefully, we're actually going to make that interview occur. I'm very excited about that. Okay, so some other Quentin Crisp. So here's some reviews of his stuff, his books. Evening, a simple conversational exchange that seems to be taking place in his cluttered, unswept London sitting room. Style is not the man, it's something better. Hilarious anecdotes about Sarah Bernhardt and Betty Davis. So yeah, this is the thing that he was famous for, just like hanging out and telling stories. And having like witty quips. In the 60s, they were individuals. In the 70s, they were strivers. In the 80s, I predict people will combine striving for material things and acceptance with more individuality, more personal honesty. Everyone is demanding their spot of honesty. Women, racial minorities, as well as religious and gays. That's such a vague prediction. Like, when was that made? 79. That's such a vague prediction. In the 80s, I predict people will combine striving for material things and acceptance with more individuality, more personal honesty. I mean, I think depending on who you look at, you could say that came true or that did not come true. Yay for the interview, says Rowan. Yes, wow, that's so exciting, says Jillian. Yeah, I'm very excited about this. Hopefully it'll happen. We're supposed to talk today, but he had to postpone. So we will make it happen. It'll be on Sewers of Paris. BT Dubs, if you're not a subscriber to Sewers of Paris, check out my podcast, The Sewers of Paris, sewersofparis.com. It's a conversation with me and a different guest each week about the entertainment that has changed their lives. So check that out. My boss says, in the 70s, I wanted to call myself a dyke. My older friend's older lesbian mother, who referred to LGBTQIA as the boys and the girls from the 40s. Wait, so did you... I wanted to call myself a dyke and my older friend's older lesbian mother? King of Pointless says, I'm following heaps of archival YouTube channels. One just uploaded an entire Donahue episode from the 80s on the AIDS crisis. Oh, King of Pointless, send me links to that. I'm always looking for that kind of stuff. Please, please, please send me links to whenever you come across something like that, because I love watching it. It's useful. I might do videos. I might use it in videos. So send the link along to that. Let's see what else we got here. Oh, Quentin saying, here's an article by Quentin. Even today, someone will say, I want to kill you. Again, like, whoof, all right, just bring the mood right on down. I used to be invited to address homosexual groups and tell them all about myself and themselves, but as soon as the television program appeared, it popularized by mistake a very conventional image of gay men that is not to their liking. I'm a sort of stereotype, but of the feminine type of homosexual, which is not popular today, nor was it popular back in 1931. It's hard to appear outrageous today because almost everyone's outrageous in his or her own way. When young people ask me what made me so offensive in my own youth, I tell them I had long hair, wore amulets, and often went barefoot. They nod very politely and keep hoping to be shocked by further details. I mean, this is another aspect of Quentin, is like his outrageousness eventually became sort of obsolete. He pioneered this thing that other people eventually took up, and then it was like, oh well, so what was the problem? Kim Polis says there's yet to be an episode recorded in the literal sewers of Paris. I have not recorded an episode in the sewers of Paris themselves. I have been to the sewers of Paris. In 2017 I went. There's a video that I recorded for Sewers backers. I think you can see on my Patreon if you scroll back to 2017. But I have not recorded a full episode in the sewers, in part because it would be incredibly noisy and echoey. The audio quality of the sewers, the actual sewers of Paris, not great. There's also like other people walking through, so it would be very weird to record a podcast there. Johnny says, speaking of witty gay quips, my mom had a delightfully spirited conversation with Charles Nelson Riley at Sardi's in 2002. What? Oh, that's amazing. Charles Nelson Riley, of course, Uncle Croc, Jose Chung from the X-Files, perpetual guest on Match Game and many other game shows of the 70s. So, like, one of those, like, icons of someone who's, like, famous enough to be on a talk show or on a game show and always just slightly tipsy. So yeah, Charles Nelson Riley, gosh, I wish I could have him on the sewers of Paris. Oh my God, what a figure. That's what Eric says. Crisp would have hated Twitter. Probably. That seems like it would not have been his thing. All these people saying so much and also so little. Let's see, what else do you have to say? I say what I mean. I mean, this is what I was saying before. It's like I get the impression this is not somebody who's just like being contrary to be contrary, just for attention. Not that the attention's a bad thing. Yeah, there again, like this is also what I was saying about how like a lot of his lines seem to like they get used a lot. So it's the exact same line that he used on Letterman here. This is 79, and so 3 years later, he's using the same line on Letterman. Not a week goes by without someone saying, "You're queer, I want to kill you." What can you say to that except, "Do you want an appointment?" Like, literally word for word what he said on Letterman. Yes, King of Pointless, they should retrofit the sewers for modern human needs, like podcasting. Oh, thank you, King of Pointless, for emailing the Donahue link. I will check that out. That is awesome. To survive in life, you have to polish up your raw identity to something called a lifestyle. This then can be used to barter with the outside world for what you want. This polishing process makes your life usually so formal that by comparison, the life of a Trappist monk is a veritable orgy of delight. There's a lot of, I don't know. I feel like Quentin's writing is something that requires slow absorption to get his point. All right, let's close this down. Also, I've got a lot of cables just like flopping all over my desk. Let's get rid of those. All right. I'm going to close this one out. Keep coming back to this friends thing. Let's see. Anything else good here? Quentin's Life. So what's fascinating about the coverage here tends to be articles about his appearances. Like, oh, he's going to come. He's going to talk. He's going to be here, and we got to interview him. And my impression is that a lot of the people who've written about him just wrote about him because they were like, they wanted to interview him because he just gives you so many good quotes. When I was coming to America, I went to the American Embassy in Grosvenor Square, and the man asked me, "Are you a practicing homosexual?" And I said I didn't practice. I was already perfect. There you go. That's perfect. Perfect line to go out on. 97. He was about to go out. 2 years left. He passed away 2 years after that. He wants to be alone. I think he sort of had a case of self-loathing, says Mr. Zook. I don't know. Like, he seems quite proud, I would say. Yeah, all of the coverage is about, like, he's going to appear. He's going to be here. Movie and Talk by Quentin Crisp, tonight at 7. So there we go. That's some of the. So there's some of the articles I found about him. But what I found when I was like pulling up Quentin coverage is that it tended to be exactly what you're seeing there. Just Quentin's coming to town, and it wasn't like there was news about him. There wasn't the opinions about him were just, isn't he fun to listen to? Damon says the scandals of Wilde linked effeminacy and homosexuality in ways it never had before. Ways it had never before been connected, and Crisp was born in the heels of that culture. Yeah, so like we saw in last week's live stream, we didn't look at a ton of the Oscar Wilde trial stuff, but it tended to be, I think the attitudes about Wilde was, particularly posthumously, what a terrible scandal and tragedy, and we must not talk about the nature of it. Like, it was all very, something bad happened and we can't say what it was. Oh, boy. Kim Poyle says, what movie was he paired with? Blame it on Rio. I'm going to assume his movie. Yeah, Mabai, like, constantly repeating that line about not cleaning the apartment. Some other stuff that I just pulled up. NBC acts after complaints by homosexual organizations. I don't remember what this one was about. Let's see. So this is an article I stumbled across while I was looking for... What was I looking for? I think I was looking for stuff about... it might have been Barney Miller. So this is 73, NBC getting complaints about stuff. And you can see in this article sort of the precursor to GLAAD. So the National Gay Task Force, an organization of queer people who was basically, they would bother the networks every time they had something about, something unflattering about queer people. Really interesting to see the name Mark Siegel in here, though. Today Show disrupted. The meeting had been arranged before the disruption of the Today Show Friday morning by Mark Siegel, who later identified himself as a member of the Gay Raiders, a Philadelphia-based organization. There's a lot of queer liberation stuff happening in Philadelphia, and Mark was a particularly important figure. He's still around. Oh, I should get him on Sewers. He's still around today. Hello, Rora. Chocolate Field trip to Jupiter was wonderful. What? Oh, hello. Is it Strawberry? Are you Strawberry on Twitch? I know that you had what was it? You had like 100 milligram edible last night, right? Good morning. I'm glad that you're doing well. National Gay Task Force sounds like a crack commando unit. That was kind of the idea, honestly. The Today Show protest was over last week's episode of Sanford & Son, which was built around incidents in a homosexual bar. The activist groups found it unfair and offensive to homosexuals. That's really interesting because I haven't done a video about this one, about the Sanford & Son episode. But honestly, I think that episode's pretty good. Also, possibly the first that I know of depiction of a gay bar in a sitcom. Oh, bitter old ass broad. Thank you for the tip. I really appreciate that. Just subbed, but I've been binge watching your stuff for 2 weeks now. So happy to catch you live. Oh, I'm so happy that you're here. Thank you so much for popping by. I really appreciate that. And yeah, thank you for the tip. As always, it's the folks who are doing the tips and who join me on Patreon who make all this stuff possible. I can do these videos thanks to the community of folks who support what I do. And even if you don't have the resources for a tip or Patreon membership, just hitting like and share and subscribe. You know how these things work, obviously. Every time you click a little button, YouTube's like, ooh, people like that. So that's all very helpful. I'm very, very grateful. Bitter old ass broad. Bitter ass. Oh no. Bitter old ass broad. Figure out more stuff. Oh, Autumn. Oh, hello, Autumn. We chatted at HavenCon. Hello, it is good to see you. Yeah, let's chat. Let's chat again. So, Autumn, we chatted. Oh my goodness, some years ago, about your passion for video games and animated entertainment and stuff. And it is lovely to see you in the chat here. Hello, how are you? Let's connect. Let's connect outside of chat about doing some chats, doing some additional chats. Charles says, I remember cringeworthy talk shows of the past with Rock Hudson, Johnny Mathis, and Barry Manilow would be asked what they looked for in oh my God, that question. What do you look for in a woman? Oh boy. I was asked that in high school. This is wild to me that this happened. There was a health class activity. It is incredible that they did this, health class activity where we went around the room and everyone had to say what they are physically attracted to in the opposite sex. What? Why? I can't remember what the lesson was supposed to be. I think maybe it was about like stereotypes. Maybe it was about relationships. I cannot remember. But it was this horrible, horrible activity where we went around and everyone had to say what they're specifically physically attracted to in the opposite sex. Why? What a thing to put people on the spot with. Anyway, it really calls to mind that thing that would happen with closeted celebrities, like, what do you look for in a woman? And they'd be like, somebody who makes me laugh, haha. Here I am, Rock Hudson, talking about the ideal woman. Nora says, I suggest giving them enough funding to build several... Oh, combining mechanical suits. We're talking about the gay task force. Yeah, Reggie says, high school trauma. Gotta love it. Yes, how fondly I recall my gay high school trauma. GQ says we had that activity too. Really? Why? What was the point of this? I'm looking back and I'm like, what was anybody thinking? Yeah, boundaries, says Danielle. For real, I don't want to talk about this with these people. Game Boilers, don't say feet, don't say feet. It's so embarrassing, especially for teenagers. I'd be fumbling for fake stories, says Jillian. I was when it got to me, I was just skip me. That was it. Anyway, so as I was saying, this episode of Sanford and Son, one of the first that I know of depictions of a gay bar, but we never actually go in. We never see the inside of the gay bar. For the inside of a gay bar, I think Maude is the first time that we actually see one on TV. It's a fern bar, basically, which is a thing in the 70s. But let's see if we can find Sanford and Son. Lamont is that you is the name of the episode. Oh, there it is right there on Daily Motion. I don't want to stream the actual video because I don't want to get a copyright strike. But let's see. I'm just going to transition this over so it doesn't go up on the screen. Of course, it's going to make noise. But I'll show you what the gay task... Was that what they called themselves? The gay task force? The gay task force. What they objected to. Nora says, that sounds as brilliant as the kind of shit my school would do. Yep. James Polk says, I can certainly say what I'm attracted to in a man, but of course that's different. Yikes. Yikes indeed. Oh no, Sam says there's an interview with young Jodie Foster where she's asked if she has a boyfriend. Well, good question. Good question. Nevermore says, I'm bi. Somehow all my friends are somewhere on the rainbow. Isn't it funny how family finds each other? Okay, so here's the episode. I'm just going to have it on still so YouTube doesn't get mad at me. So the name of the episode is Lamont, Is That You? It's a play on the title of the movie, Norman, Is That You? That Red Fox, who is a actor on Sanford and Son, had appeared in the year or maybe 2 years prior. It's about a father who finds out that his son is gay. Adapted from a Broadway show, which I think had the same title. Anyway, so basically the premise is that these two characters go into a bar not realizing it's a gay bar. Let's see here. What's the name of it? So they're there standing outside. I don't think they even say the name of the bar in the episode. Something like The Distinguished Gentleman or something, let's say. So we see them standing outside. Note the no windows. Oh, the Gay Blade. Great. Fantastic. The Gay Blade. There's some homosexuals coming out. Some homosexuals. Look at that lovely little purse there. So it's a gay bar. And they come out and they're like, whoops, we didn't mean to go in there. Oh, well. But then word gets around that they were in a gay bar and his father's really concerned, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Your typical sitcom misunderstanding plot. Autumn says, what do I like in a man for him to go bother someone else? That's great. Oh, wow. Pika says, my yearbook quote said, I wanted hot, sexy men to cater to my every need, but now I'm pan and care less about appearance. Oh yeah, the gay blade. The gay blade in all caps. Should I make a t-shirt out of that? Should I make a t-shirt design out of, let's see, where was it again? King of Pointless wants me to hum the Sanford and Son theme. Honestly, I love the graphic design here. That like one little gender symbol up in the corner, this one sad little boop, and the font with like, it's so hastily painted. The bottom bar of the E slightly too long, and it's like the font can't make up its mind whether it's serif or sans serif. All right, this is definitely going. Hold on, I'm gonna clip this so I don't forget. This is gonna go in the idea bucket for making a t-shirt design. BT Dubs, if you weren't here earlier, you can get some historical homo t-shirt designs that I've adapted from some older stuff. So there's "Honk If You Heart Sodomy," a protest slogan from the 80s when the Supreme Court was hearing the sodomy case, Bowers v. Hardwick. Well, you know what? Let's just go take a look. If you go to I need to update this, mattbaum.com, and you scroll down a little bit over here. There's "Honk If You Heart Sodomy." There's "Thank God I'm Queer." I've added a third design, "Queer Power," over there. This is based on sign on the wall behind Lauren Bacall in Applause. And you know what? Getting this "The Gay Blade" design, it is very attractive, right? Well, that was some very wholesome humming. Thank you. Rezel just finished the D&D session. I hope it went well. Yeah, you're right, Ryan. It does look like "Gay the Blade." Like, the is just a little too low. Just a little too low. There's also some other historical things that from other shops for the Continental Baths and Cell Block, which is a leather bar in Philadelphia. It's a series of shirts based on gay bar logos from old shows. This King of Pointless. Honestly, that sounds great. The thing is there's almost none. Like, there was on Mod the Gay Caballero. The Gay Caballero was the name of the bar in Tuckahoe. Honestly, visit Tuckahoe's Gay Caballero. That's not bad. Like, we never see the design, we never see the logo, but you know what? I could probably whip something up. King of Pointless, I love that idea. A series of shirts based on gay bar logos from old shows is, I'm really into that. Anyway, so here's the Gay Blade on Sanford and Son. I don't remember exactly how this episode resolves. It's just a lot of, like, you know, concern that my son might be a homosexual. National Gay Task Force and the Gay Activist Alliance have in effect been seeking status as a minority group, much like blacks, Jews, Roman Catholics, Chicanos, and others who have been able to persuade the networks not to exploit the myths and stereotypes that have oppressed them. Yeah, so this is an early glimpse. This is what, 72? 73 of TV networks being like, oh, maybe we shouldn't be shitty to minorities. Also, Nader Group sues to halt X-ray use at major airports. Huh. Well, that went nowhere. Oh, well. Let's close that one down. And what have we got here? NBC, yields to, homosexuals over episode of Policewoman. Kind of. So this, you might be familiar with, it's an episode of Policewoman called, I think, Flowers of Evil, in which a bunch of evil lesbians run a nursing home and are stealing the old people's checks. It's wild. It's intense. The evil lesbian episode. It's part of a kind of a trend of killer lesbians. On television, not in real life. Imagine a school for grades 7 to 9 and the teachers want to decorate the class for Valentine's Day with giant paper hearts with each student's love interest. Oh no, Crystal, did that happen? Ugh. What is now called ACE and having to do that? Yeah. There's just like this assumption that minorities do not exist sometimes. Different says, caballero can be translated as gentleman or knight. Oh, that's what the gay caballero is. King Polis says there's an episode of Pod People on MST3K with a gay character with a plain white shirt that says I'm a virgin. Really? I don't remember that. That's that one. For some reason I thought that was from a different movie, but you're right. That's the movie where the guy goes, "It stinks." King Pointless says, I was staggered that the Bewitched episode you pointed out criticized racial stereotypes implicitly. Isn't that amazing? Yeah, like, if you've watched my Bewitched video, which I hope you all have, yeah, like the show was like really clear where it came down on being anti-racist, which is pretty impressive for a sitcom. Oh, Johnny, you've caught me in the technicality. Wasn't the gay bar in Maud not in Tuckahoe, but the depraved hamlet next door? Well, what's next door to Tuckahoe? I love that you can get a baby onesie that says, "Thank God I'm queer" on TeePublic. Yeah, that's true. It's true. I disabled that for the honk if you heart sodomy because I was like, I don't think I want people to be able to get a baby onesie with this logo on it. Let's see. So anyway, Policewoman had an episode called Flowers of Evil with killer lesbians. Edited result failed to appease the protesting groups last Tuesday. Several members of the Lesbian Feminist Liberation staged an overnight sit-in at NBC. The network was presented with a list of demands for fair treatment of homosexuals on television. And that's the end of that part of the article. So we're in suspense about what happens next. But we all know what happened next is eventually network. So this is 74. About 4 or 5 years later, it's just like a boom in gay characters briefly on network TV. There was a whole bunch of shows that had queer characters, including Soap and various others. But so we got there eventually. This is what we're seeing basically in these articles is the beginnings of networks actually listening to queer groups. Oh, wait, King Boy, this is Olivia Newton-John and Helen Reddy? Is that in something like I'm missing over here? Wait, I'm looking for it, but I'm not seeing it in like all this like television listing stuff. I do see the Fellowship of the Frog. I don't know what that is. Something called Shazam. Of course, Sigmund and the Sea Monsters. And Rocket Robin Hood. Is that Robin Hood in space? That sounds great. I'm sorry. I just noticed this. This listing. I don't know what to call this. All right, let's look at this description of Thunder Bay. This is unrelated to anything we were looking at. Movie Thunder Bay, 1953. James Stewart, Dan Duryea, or How to Strike Oil and a Shrimp Bed Simultaneously. Phooey. It's just like the listing ends with phooey. Unlike Viva Zapata, Viva Brando and All Concerned, superb. So I love that the TV listing has like a very brief movie review. What else have we got in here? I love the like one-word review. Phooey, superb. Big Sky, solid, burly, pioneering. No, that's I like my movies like I like my men. Charles wants something on the Jim J. Bill character Monroe on Too Close for Comfort. That's complicated, right? Because like the character was played with certain coding, but I think the character was explicitly straight, if I'm remembering correctly. Bitter Old Ass Broad says, one of my sons has a pink hoodie that has a random baby dinosaur that says, fuck homophobia. I love it. That's good. I feel like the sexual content does not belong on baby stuff. Rocket Robin Hood is a Canadian institution, says Danielle. What is it about? How do we always find such bizarre headlines in listing these streams? Because there's always bizarre stuff. You look long enough, you're always going to find it. Seventh Dawn is a turgid, drawn-out melodrama. Also like I Like My Men. Stagecoach, Bing Crosby, Anne Margaret, Michael Connors, Van Heflin, workman-like remake which only accentuates values of the classic original. Okay, but no more. Okay, but no more. Oh, he means like it's no more than okay. I thought that meant okay, but please don't make me watch anymore. Phantom of the Rue Morgue is described as ape time in Paris, the original old growler much less flossy. I do not understand a single sentence of that. Ape time in Paris, the original old growler much less flossy. What? Oh, your son is 21. Okay. Bitter as broad. I thought you were talking about an actual baby. Okay, well that's fine then. It's like, oh no, your son is wearing a baby hoodie. Okay, I like the baby dinosaur on an adult hoodie. It's a poorly animated superhero cartoon about a futuristic flying Robin Hood. Oh, Danielle, that is exactly what I wanted it to be. Marriage Italian style is, oh no. Funny, sensual, moving, and marvelously indigenous. What do we mean by that, reviewer? The Pirate, starring Judy Garland. Lavish, slightly lumbering, fine songs and dance, the pirate ballet and color. Best tunes, Be a Clown, and Forgotten You Could Do No Wrong. What's kind of amazing about this is whoever is writing these actually knows the movies well enough to form an opinion and tell you what the highlights are. Katharine Hepburn, The Sea of Grass. Katharine Hepburn, Spencer Tracy, Robert Walker, Spence and Kate, not quite at home on the range. Young Bob's the thing here. Anyway, enough of this. Oh, TBT says maybe they meant ingenious. That could be it. Marvelously indigenous is so strange. I mean, it could just mean very Italian. Is maybe what they're going for? Yeah, question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark. Anyway, close that down. And then we get to this Just Friends thing. So I'll talk a little bit more about this, and then we might wrap it up for the day. So I've been looking into, obviously, Friends, a complicated, problematic sometimes show. The character of Chandler, in particular, there's an early season 1, I want to say, episode where he is suspected of being gay. And in fact, in the very first episode, in the pilot, in the first scene of the first episode, Chandler is just musing, as one does on a sitcom, out loud to himself, and talking to no one in particular, says, "I wish I was a lesbian," and then looks shocked and says, "Did I say that out loud?" It's a weird moment. But then in a later episode, in season 1, everyone just assumes Chandler's gay, and they're like, "Oh, you just have this quality." He's like, "What quality? Why? Why do you think this about me?" So I've been looking more into it, and found this particularly telling quote from David Crane, one of the creators. We were talking about him earlier. So David Crane, creator, says, there's a lot of feeling. Is it sexual? No, it's emotional. He's talking about Joey and Chandler. These two guys are emotionally crazy about each other, but sexually not at all. Very often we play Chandler's relationship with Joey like an old married couple, so it doesn't surprise me that people would think he's gay, but in our minds he isn't. As to whether Crane had ever planned on developing Chandler as a gay man, his reply is more tenuous. We didn't go into this determined that Chandler would be straight, he says. If we had cast a different actor who was gay, there was the option that we would have taken the character in that direction. So I find that, extremely interesting, that he's not saying we didn't go into this determined that he was straight or gay, or one way or the other. Like, their minds weren't made up. It seems like they were open to having the character be gay, and then just decided not to, in part because of who they cast. So, that's interesting. In particular, because there has been reporting that Chandler was definitely supposed to be gay. If you just do a Google for Friends Chandler supposed to be gay, and this is a problem that I've run into a lot in my research. This gives you a little insight into what my research process is like. So you see all these headlines here. Was Chandler and Friends originally meant to be gay? This Friends main character was supposed to be gay. Matthew Perry refused a Friends storyline. How Matthew Perry killed a gay story for his character. So there's this coverage of Chandler was supposed to, definitively saying Chandler was supposed to be gay. So that seems like, oh, that's really interesting. I'm going to write a thing about that. And for a while, I was like, oh, okay, cool. The character was definitely supposed to be gay. That's just a thing about him. But then I started looking into it a little further, and this gets to one of the challenges in making the kinds of videos that I do, which is finding primary sources to make sure what I'm writing is actually, what I'm telling you is actually true, because I want to tell you things that are true. This is something Max Miller talked about in one of his recent videos. Sometimes people make things up. Gayest episode ever talked about season 1 episode where they assume he's gay, says Magic Mike. Oh, I should listen to that episode of Gayest Episode Ever. If you're not listening to that, go subscribe to Gayest Episode Ever. My friend Drew Mackey makes this fantastic podcast about gay episodes of TV. If you like my stuff, you'll probably like his stuff. Have you explored the rumors about Tracy Hepburn relationship being a double beer situation? I have not, Johnny Minogue. I don't know about that. That's, along the lines of what I'm talking about. That's one of those things that I don't think is ever going to be possible to actually verify, Mullen says there's an SNL skit from that time about Chandler being gay. Really? Let's look at that. SNL skit, Chandler gay? That might be a tough one to find. Oh, nope, there it is. But this is from much later, right? This looks like 2017. Yeah. Oh, no. Oh, okay, 97. But where's the gay stuff? Okay, here it is. In the Friends sketch, Colin Quinn plays up the Chandler's gay idea, which is based on how the writers originally thought of Chandler as a gay character, but abandoned it when they got Matthew Perry. That's, according to IMDb, unsourced. Like, we don't know that they specifically thought of Chandler as gay until they got Matthew Perry, but we do know that it was something that they were open to. So this is great, actually. This is awesome that you've pointed this out to me, that this exists, Mullen, because I did not know about this, and I love that you all are helping me with my research. This is something that happened with the Bewitched video, too. A lot of the stuff that I found for that, I found because folks in the chat were like, hey, did you know about this? Autumn says there's a lot of homophobia and especially transphobia on the show. On Friends, yes. Their handling of Chandler's parent, boy oh boy, what a problem. Kathleen Turner, who played the character, has spoken about how, like, they would not do it that way today and maybe shouldn't have done it that way then. If made Ross or Rachel gay, would have been spared their love stories as King of Pointless. Yeah, do everybody a favor. King of Pointless says, wow, checking primary source of YouTube videos rather than just skimming easily accessible web links. This is not how it's done. Kiflam says, you're a famous YouTuber. Couldn't you ask some of the early writers to get on your primary source? Sometimes they actually do that. For my episode about rock, if you find my video about rock on my channel, rock had the first gay marriage on television, or same-sex commitment ceremony that was shown on television that I know of. Let me qualify that with on primetime television, because I want to say Donahue did a marriage episode with a real couple maybe a year or two earlier. Could be wrong about that. It might have been around the same time. Anyway, I did find one of the writers or producers, and we talked about it, about how that episode came about. So check out my rock video for my conversation with Jeffrey Dutiel. Why did Kirk Cameron get Matthew Perry killed off of Growing Pains again? Wait, what? Did that happen? GQ hated Friends when it came out? I still hate it. So unfunny. I never glommed onto that one. I'm going to hang on to this tab, though, because this is useful to know that this skit happened. I'm going to check it out, see if there's anything telling in there. Okay, so here's one of the sources for this report, this belief, that Chandler was specifically supposed to be gay. So red flag number one here, the word reportedly. Reportedly by whom? Sitcom, blah, 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 blah. Queerty reports. Red flag number two. But let's see what we have to say there. What exactly does Queerty reports? And so Queerty reports, now this is red flag number 3. We're getting into a game of telephone here because nobody has an actual quote, and nobody has actual evidence that this is true. Ranker reports the producers had intended him to be gay. Final series instead features running guy that thinks he's gay, what kind of makes him feel, blah, blah, blah. The reason they nixed him remains unclear, and then no other actual information. So let's see what Ranker reports. 43 things you didn't know about Friends. Oh my God, 43. All right, let's do Control F gay. It's my life, really. Here we go. So for all those articles, for all those this so-and-so reports, here's the actual source. Here's where it's coming from. This unsourced, Chandler wasn't supposed to be straight. Originally, the producers intended for Chandler to be gay. Good thing for Monica, he wasn't. That's the entire... This little blurb on Ranker is the entire source of all that stuff. Oh, and Hawpod is now following. Thank you, Hawpod, for the follow. I appreciate that. We're going to celebrate that little follow. So, Hawpod, just follow me over on Twitch, BT Dubs. I do streams during the week over on Twitch, twitch.tv/Matt Baum. So go follow me over there for more streams during the week. Oh. There's a lot of Friends that was just uncomfortable, says Nora, even when I was a child. Oh, and James likes Matt's excellent videos and Frasier's gay themes. I'm glad you like those. Frasier, those were very fun videos to do because Frasier was a super gay show. Nero Shah is here. I caught one of these. Yes, you did. Hello. And Magic Mike was looking up the Matthew Perry shooting down a gay storyline. Apparently, it was Chandler as a straight man just going to a gay bar for the food. Oh, gosh. Oh, King Foley says Control F gay T-shirt. That's pretty good. So yeah, just let us live our fantasies. That's so Derek. So what are we able to take away from this? Chandler maybe was considered queer or considered gay or whatever, and that we do have actual evidence for in this Advocate article. Meaty Dubs, Advocate, just the bane of my existence going through like old Advocate articles because some of them are available online, many are not. So sometimes it can be very hard to find stuff in this very important publication. It can be a real challenge getting stuff from Advocate articles. Oh, Magic Mike says my comments were continuations of each other. I was running out of characters. I didn't know it limits you on characters. Oh. According to a book called Generation Friends, Pink News reported it as Perry saying no to a homophobic story, while New York Daily News calls it Perry's gay unfriendly. Yeah, so these are sources like taking things out of context or putting their own spin on things, and it not being entirely accurate if you just go by the headline. Let me grab some other Friends stuff here. Let's see. Where do I have that? I know I had some other... Is it here? Oh, yeah. And so another fun thing that I found about Friends, let me call this up here. This is from a more recent source. And, block that. So, Carol and Susan weren't allowed to kiss when they got married on Friends. So these are the actual actors talking about their experience. And oh my goodness, there's actual video footage. This is like hitting gold when I'm doing research for my videos. If I find like the actual video interviews with people, amazing. Oh, gold. So they two cities refused to air Carol and Susan's wedding despite the couple not even kissing after tying the knot. Maybe we could get a kiss out of the wedding. We weren't allowed to kiss. We were disappointed by that. It wasn't allowed. It wasn't filmed, the segment of the wedding. People were worried that it was going to happen, and maybe they pulled back just a bit, which is weird because there had been gay same-sex kisses on television at that point. But they were like, not on this show. There's also, I'm going to show you one more cute little thing that I found about Friends. Here's like a whole article in The Guardian about the show. So here's again the actors who played the lesbians on the show, putting a dirty little joke in that maybe nobody has noticed. So the actors who played Carol, so there's one joke we kept changing. We couldn't get it right. It was the episode where Susan and I are celebrating our anniversary. Ross comes over at an inopportune moment, and I had to telegraph to him that it wasn't a good time. So I removed a little pube from my tongue. That was the only time I pitched something that was really outrageous, and it actually got on air. Like, oh my stars, what an amazing joke. And I don't think anyone, like, I wonder how many people that just, like, completely went over the heads of. So anyway, another little piece of queer content from Friends that I stumbled across in the process of my research. That's what Derek says. The wedding episode was only in 1996. Yeah, so there'd been a gay wedding on Roseanne at that point. There had been a ceremony on Rock, no kiss on that. There was a brief kiss in the Roseanne gay marriage. Obviously, Roseanne had her very high-profile kiss with Muriel Hemingway at that point. We'd had one on, I think, on Picket Fences had happened by then, and we'd had one on, what was the big one? L.A. Law. And, of course, DS9 happened after that. There's a woman-to-woman kiss in DS9. Yeah, James Polk says. There's a lot of qualifiers. I reviewed the series last year. I've got a video about that one, too. Check that out on my channel. Anyway, so one of the things that I'm interested in with Friends is like the constant mistaken for gay vibe that runs throughout the series with Chandler. And about how he's sort of, I don't know, like the character polices his behavior in this like very particular way to be like, uh-oh, what if I telegraph that I'm queer without meaning to? This fear of what if I am and I don't know about it? What if I am telling people that I'm queer and I don't even realize it? Oh, Bitter Old S. Broad says Peter Zamora's death matches timeline of that first season of Friends. That makes makes sense. They would consider writing a gay main character into the show. I hadn't considered that either. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna make a note about that. Aligns with Peter Zamora. And let me just make a note of that. I'm gonna put this in my notes too. This SNL parody. That's what Derek says. In my head, the 90s just feel like 10 years ago. I know, me too. I'm in the same place. It's like, oh, what? 30 years ago? Oh, no. Oh, help. Yikes. Anyway, so I just find it really interesting that the character of Chandler was imagined in a particular way, taken in a different direction, and then in particular that one of the showrunners, David Crane, eventually did another show, Veronica's Closet, that had a super similar character who they eventually did make queer. I'm using queer as a verb there. As Honest Trailer said, Friends has an overriding sense of gay panic that runs through the whole thing. That's, you know what? That's just the 90s. So, anyway, there's some Just Friends. James Polk has to go off to work. Have a grand day sifting through the 90s. Have a great day at work, James Polk. One last thing I do want to look at here. NI Times Machine. Just curious if anything else has been reported. We're going to look at Friends Gay. That's going to turn up a lot of stuff. But what do we have here? Call it Gay Friends. The trio of gay men fixed up by Friends. 2001. Friends trained more gay student in Wyoming. So obviously, just searching for Gay Friends is going to turn up a lot of stuff that is not necessarily about the show. So let's try to throw in NBC. Urban NBC is looking for laughs in suburbia. I don't know about that. Shifts Fraser to defend Thursdays. Gay Brinkerhoff engaged to Marine. Definitely not going to be about gay, but I want to learn about Gay Brinkerhoff. William Ernst marries Gay Summer Menkel. 61. William Gay weds Elaine. Oh my God, they're all weddings. Gay Gilpin is bride of Eric W. Johnson on TV, a heightened gay presence. Gay images, once kept out. TV's mixed signals. We've actually looked at these articles on the stream before. The world of gay Talese. Very little here about the show. Phoebe Gay is wed. Call Gay Friends. This is an episode. This is a review of Message to Michael. Seems like a play. Slight, obvious comedy by the actor turned player Pim Pinkney about the vicissitudes of dating scene and gay New York actor. There's Michael, blah, 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 blah. There's witness successive plays like Jeffrey and Love, Valor, Compassion. Yeah, all right. So it's a play that just kind of feels like Friends but gay. The same Google search, apparently Lisa Kudrow thought that Chandler was gay and she mentioned it in an interview with an Emmy TV legend, but I can't find the clip of it. Oh, Magic Mike, keep looking. Keep looking. I got to find that. Lisa Kudrow thought that Chandler was gay and she mentioned in an interview with Emmy TV legends. I can't find the clip. Oh, my God. He's find some frat bro in the 90s who said Friends is gay, but Rachel is hot. Yeah. Ross says, I love your channel. Thank you. It's like university and the course would be postmodern gay culture. What's the famous saying? Although the story about the person isn't true, what it tells us about the person is true. Sometimes. Let's see. Urban NBC is looking for laughs in suburbia. Anything good here? No coward humor that veins such hits as Will and Grace Fraser and Just Shoot Me is part of the NBC brand. That reports they worked... Oh, NBC executive joke reports that they worked at the Gay Network. That's interesting. An NBC presentation here today of its third new sitcom, Good Morning Miami, set in television newsroom. One of the show's executive producers, Max Muchnick, who's creator of Will and Grace, was asked to comment on why the networks have not introduced any gay characters for the fall season. One time running Hollywood agent dealmaker. Oh yeah, this is around the time that somebody complained about like the gay mafia running Hollywood. Sure. So that's the extent of like gay content there. NBC Sarah Fraser to defend Thursdays. Nothing particularly gay about that, although there's Nathan Lane right next to it. There's, let's see, Miss Gay Brinkerhoff. Gay Brinkerhoff, engaged to Marine. I like that it feels like an adjective. Heightened gay presence. This is an article from when? 94? So, yeah, that'll be just... Let's see, yep. There's mention of Pedro Zamora over there. Yeah, so just a kind of a boilerplate article about, like, TV's getting gayer. You find these every, like, couple decades. TV's getting gayer. Like, it happens in the... There's articles about it in the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s. Just, like, every so often, they're like, TV's getting gayer. Did anybody notice this? Huh. Ugh. All right. So, well, we've been going for nearly 2 hours now, so I'm going to wrap it on up. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining for this little... quite random jump back and forth through some archives. What a pleasure to do all this with you. It's always a delight to stream my research and that kind of fun stuff. Thanks to everybody with the tips. I really appreciate those. And come join me over on Twitch for even more of this nonsense. Just hanging out, chatting, having a good time, checking in with friends. I do it 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 5 p.m. Pacific. And it's a real hoot. It's a hoot. You'll also get to see me spin around in my chair every time somebody falls, and I often wear tank tops for those, so take that as you will. Interesting side note, there was a columnist in 2004 who predicted that Friends and Frasier both ending scripted TV was going to end in favor of reality TV. King of Pointless says, well, I mean, why not both, is how I respond to that. Why not both? Okay, as always, everybody, thank you so much for popping by. Come join me on Twitch. Check out Sewers of Paris at sewersofparis.com. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe and hit the bell and all that stuff here on the YouTubes. I really appreciate that. And if you're enjoying my stuff, head on over to patreon.com. There's the URL right here, patreon.com/MattBaum. You get all kinds of bonus stuff. You get little messages from me. You get some extra videos. You get early access to stuff. You get a podcast. You get tons of things over there on the Patreon. And, you know, you make it possible for me to make more stuff. Fab Chat, as always, says James Gent. Magic Mike, thanks for joining. Yes, Nora says all the TV. We talk about a lot more TV over on Twitch, it's true. Rowan has been here. Thank you for joining. Rowan, King of Pointless, as always, thank you for joining. Mr. T, Magic Mike, thank you for the joining me in research. Kaylee, Mr. Zook, GQ, Mikey Mullins, That's So Derek, Nora, and everybody. We got dozens of people here in the chat, so I'm very grateful to you for being here with me. All right, everyone. Have a fabulous first day of spring. I think it's still the first day, right? Is today the first day? Whatever. Have a fabulous spring. Make the whole season fabulous. And I will see you next time on our little live stream hunt through the archives. All right, everybody. Goodbye. Goodbye. Goodbye.